Hey guys, welcome back to the Overshare Hour. We are your hosts, Mackenzie and Jubilee. How are you doing today, Juby?
I'm doing good. It is Monday. We almost never record on Mondays, but we both
Yeah,
had very hectic weeks. But I am doing good. What about you?
I'm okay. Everyone who listens knows that I have a cat. Her name is Suki, and she recently had babies about 2 weeks ago now. And she has had a ton of complications. And so, yeah, she's been really, really sick. And we took her to the ER last Monday and then ended up having to take her back to the vet for some other stuff going on. And she had to have surgery today. So we were worried that she wasn't going to pull through, and it looks like she's going to be okay. So we're not out of the woods yet. So I'm just trying to push through. I feel so much sadness and exhaustion, and because we're bottle feeding the babies now, and so it's exhausting to do that because they have to eat very often. So it feels like you have a newborn child. But there are five little kittens in our house, and I love them so much, and I love my cat so much, and it's been really hard. It's been really,
Yeah.
but I'm so grateful that there was a solution. Like there was something that they could do for her, and now it's basically just like, how is she going to recover from the surgery? And she should probably be fine. So I'm being as optimistic as I can be. But you know, when you're tired, like you're so tired, and things have just been like really, really hard, you're like just emotional and like a little bit like vulnerable and
100%.
tender. Like that's how I feel. So yeah, but other than that, everything is really good. But that has been absolutely like consuming my every waking moment. You know, I work, obviously, I work as a nanny. Um, and so I'm so grateful for the family that I have because they let me bring the little boy to my house, especially when we have stuff going on like that I need to be home for. And also, our AC's been broken, and so it's like flooding our bedroom. So like our AC is leaking into the wall and flooding the entire bedroom, and this has been going on for weeks now, and they're trying to figure out what it is. But we rent, and they can't get approval for like the amount that it's going to cost. And I'm like, okay, well, it's literally eroding the floors and the walls. There's probably mold now, so it's just been a lot. It's been a lot.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Kenzie.
yeah, it's been a
I
lot.
didn't even know about that AC stuff, but I
Yeah.
knew that this past week has been super hard. Yeah, if you guys have gone to her TikTok, it has been very cute. If you go, you have been doing so many lives of you feeding these kittens, and I
Hmm.
am obsessed with them. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're inspiring me to want to go live. Guys, I've never gone live. Let me know if I should do that. But
You should do that, but it's so awkward.
you were handling it like a pro. I was like, wow, look at Kenzie go. I would lose my mind. You
But
know,
I'm also feeding cats. Like I've thought about it. I'm like, okay, so what do you do when you don't have something to do? Like you just have to talk. And you don't
yeah.
know, like people are constantly coming and going. And so like at some points you're like, am I just talking to zero people right now? Like who's even here? It's kind of awkward.
Yeah,
So
I
I don't
know.
know.
I need
It's
to push past
yeah.
because I'm like, it sounds fun and I see a lot of my mutuals do it, but
Yeah.
like, okay, I think I'm at the point where I should probably be going live sometimes. But
Yes.
yeah, do you want to get started with the
Yeah.
first submission? I think we have four today, and
Yeah.
then we'll definitely have our overshare moments at the end. I'm sure we both have a lot to say.
Yes.
So,
Let's do it.
okay. Are you ready for the first one?
I'm ready.
Okay. I could really use some advice about work. My boss is always crossing my boundaries. She'll ask me to watch her kids, run her errands, and even cancel my own stuff to cover for her. She always says, we're like family here, but it honestly just feels manipulative at this point. The thing is, she gave me this job when I really needed it, so I feel guilty even thinking about quitting. How do I know if it's time to walk away? And if I don't quit yet, how do I set boundaries without coming off as ungrateful?
This is actually crazy because it sounds like I could have written this like 5 years ago because
Which
I
is
was,
why I wanted to pick it when I saw it. I was like, oh, Kenzie has a lot to say about this
yeah,
topic.
like as you were reading it, I was like, okay, well, that's literally was my life and it was terrible. Okay, so I had this job. First of all, I feel you. Like, I totally feel you. I had a job where I was a house manager. So I basically came into this woman's home and just like managed her life, which I knew was going to be a big undertaking. Obviously, it's not a simple job to manage someone else's life. But I, just like you, got this job when I was really needing it. Like was out of work. I was working as a freelance social media manager and digital marketer. And that company that I was working for was kind of on the slower end. And so I really needed a different position. And I ended up going on Indeed and like finding this woman that she owned a business. Okay. And I knew her personally, like my whole life I knew her. And I saw her business and I was like, oh, I'll just like message her on Facebook and see like if I could just do that job. And so I messaged her and she was like, oh, I don't want you to do that job. Like, it's a terrible job. It's like a lot of physical labor, but I've been looking for a house manager. So totally come work for me. It's going to be amazing. You can bring your kids whenever. Like, we really prioritize children here. And I was like, okay, awesome. A godsend. I just literally felt like, you know, it was a blessing. It was like exactly what I needed. That's how I felt in the moment. So I went and worked for her. And long story short, actually, I'm really, really seriously considering doing a series about this on social media. So if you're interested in all of like the details, like I probably will be putting something up in the next couple of weeks when my life slows down. So anyway, she had me like being like the therapist for her children and running them absolutely everywhere, but also like managing her emotions. Like one time she like got roofied and woke up the next day and I was at her house and she was like telling me that she wanted me to look like under her pants to make sure that like nothing bad had happened to her. And yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it was actually crazy. And she had me write her daughter's graduation speech. Like I wrote her daughter's graduation speech for her.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's sitcom material.
Yeah, it was so crazy. And then at the end, she ended up like switching up my entire position, had me like go over to the business that she ran because she was like, it's going down and the people that work there are crazy and I need you to go make it all better. Like go make it all better. And so I had to then switch my job from like house manager to go work at her business as like the operations manager. And she literally told me when I walked in the door, if you don't get this place into shape in 2 weeks, I'm firing everybody. So then I had like, and she was angry, like always yelling and like stressed out. It was so crazy. Okay. So I felt the same way though, because I was like, I need this job. Like I absolutely need to have this job. There were so many things about her and things that she offered to me that were really kind and like generous. And so if I had any sort of qualm or like upset about how things were going, I felt weird bringing that to the table because I did kind of feel like she had these things that she could hold over my head, like flexibility and things with my kids. And she gave me a really good Christmas bonus, which like allowed me to be able to move into my apartment out of this like situation that I didn't want to live in. So there were so many things. Eventually it got to the point where I did leave the job and I'm so grateful because things took such a weird turn and it just got worse and worse. And she tried to sabotage my life. So that's a whole other part of it that is like wild. And maybe I'll share that at a different time. But anyway, so it is absolutely crossing boundaries. It's not okay for people to say to you, we're like family here. So that almost gives them the ability in their own minds to just have you do whatever they would like ask their children to do or like their spouse to do. And so it sounds really nice. Like, oh, you know, there's flexibility. We're like family. I can come to them. And then it's so easy for those lines to get blurred and to hold those boundaries. I would say that just because they gave you the job when you really needed it, just because you are also extremely grateful for the opportunity when it came to you, it's time to walk away when it feels like you are being used. It's time to walk away when you have something set up. Like it's totally fine if you need to stay in this position and like look for something else. But from my own experience, I don't see this situation getting better necessarily. So the first thing I would do, I couldn't do this in my situation. I knew that this person would, because I knew her and how she operated, I was like, there's not really going to be a lot of shift if I have a boundaries conversation. I tried to talk about clarity of my role and like my actual job description. And whenever I did that, it was met with a lot of manipulation and gaslighting and shutdown from that person's point of view and just like their side of things. So you could try. It's always worth a try to see if maybe they'll be like, oh, you know what? I didn't realize the boundaries were getting blurred. Like, let's see if we can set some like more specific description of what your job would look like and try to stay within those guidelines. try that first. But if that person seems to be offended or defensive and kind of not want to work with you on those things, or maybe hold it over your head that they like did something nice for you in a time of need, those are just all red flags in a work situation. And you're going to get more and more burnt out. Like, it's not going to get better if they aren't willing to work with you. So it sounds to me like it might be time to walk away or start seriously looking for a different position. If while you're doing that, like, you don't have the ability to just up and leave, which totally makes sense, then I would say try to set those boundaries. And it's not your job to make it seem like you're grateful. Like, if you are grateful, which it sounds like you are, then you are not, whether she or he takes your conversation as you being ungrateful is their perception of you, and it doesn't really matter. Like, you're not responsible for how they receive you in your boundary setting. You can even say, hey, I am so grateful for this opportunity. Like, I really appreciate this job, and I love these things about working with you. These are the things that I feel like I need to shift on my end. Like, is there a compromise that we can set? And that is okay. And you don't have, I think that if you're walking around constantly trying to make your decisions based on gratefulness or sounding a certain way, it's really a people-pleasing tendency, and it's not going to serve you in the end. Like, you are literally putting yourself on the back burner for someone else's feelings, and these jobs can suck the life out of you. When the majority of your life is spent in the workplace, like, so much of your day is spent working, make sure it's an environment that at least respects you and at least respects your time and, your boundaries. So I know it's really hard, and I know especially if you're like, I need this job, it's almost impossible. But start searching, start looking for other positions, and stand your ground, because just because someone did you what you feel like is a favor doesn't mean that it gives them permission to walk all over you, ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think?
I absolutely agree. I think that in today's day and age with the job market and everything like that, it's obviously not as easy to just walk away and say, okay, I'm leaving right now. I mean, maybe it is for you. Maybe you have a bunch of savings. I know a lot of us don't, so I would try to have a conversation with her. How she takes it is how she takes it. So like you were saying, Kenz, if she feels, oh, you're so ungrateful, there's not much you can do about that. All you can do is, if you want to try to appease her and make sure it comes off the best way possible, you can like sandwich it. You know how they say, where you say something like positive, like a compliment, like, oh, I'm so grateful for this, I'm wanting to this, but I love that, if you want to do that, you can do that to try to like make sure that your point gets across as best as humanly possible. But however she's going to take it is how she's going to take it. And some people cannot be pleased. No matter how you phrase things, any bit of criticism is endgame for them. Or any just readjusting of boundaries. Because there are people who will feel like, because I'm paying you, I am owed everything I want from this dynamic. And I used to go on nanny boards on Reddit, and that was constantly a topic there where people were saying, I'm paid pretty well for my nanny position, but they're asking me to do the laundry and clean and go run errands for them, which is fine, but that's not what we agreed on when I got hired. And it's, how do you set those boundaries once you're already in it? And it's hard because they might feel, well, I'm paying you well, so you should be doing all of these things, But I always felt like it should be something that you choose to do. So just side tangent, when I was nannying for the celebrity couple out in Atlanta, they did not hire me to clean at all, but I just naturally wanted to do that because I liked them. So I did clean for them and do their dishes, and they were always shocked when I did it. But it was never something that they asked me to do. It was just, if I had time, I don't mind doing it. But it sounds like this situation is, she's asking you and telling you that you are like family, which kind of implies boundaries out the window. Yeah. We all just take care of each other here. And what's not being said, but is being said through that whole we're family thing, is that we just all look out for each other. And that is what is expected of you. Yeah. You are expected to rise to the occasion of unconditional love and acceptance of this situation. So I would try to have a conversation with her, but I would start looking now for something
Mhm.
else. If it happens to change, that's great. You can always decide to stay. But even before you have the conversation, I would try to just throw
Yeah.
some feelers out there for something else because you don't know if that'll be the house of cards that makes it fall apart very quickly. Because for some people, that's all they need is one bit of negative input, and then they're not feeling it so much anymore. So I would just have a plan. But I agree with you, Kens, that if it feels like it's sucking the life out of you, it is not worth it.
No. Yeah, and I think that's why it's so hard when you get into something and then slowly your job description changes and they start adding more and more to your plate. It's hard to have those conversations, especially when you need that job, which most of us need the jobs that we're in, right?
Yeah.
Like the fear is if I have this conversation, are they just going to fire me? So that's why I think both of us are saying, see if you can have something potentially lined up before you have that conversation just to make yourself feel better. There's a chance that it won't go that way. Maybe she'll understand or he'll understand. But a lot of times, too, like that we're like family here thing, it really just benefits them because it's like, yeah, we all take care of each other, but really, like, who's taking care of you? Like, you're taking care of everybody else, so no one's really taking care of you. Like, the job that I was in was paying me $15 an hour. Like, it was hardly enough to live on.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Kenzie.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was desperate at the time. I was like, I need something now. But that's also something to think about. Like, are you even making enough? That you need to stay or that you should stay. So, yeah, that's hard.
Ooh, yeah. Let us know what you do. I think we've all been there
Yeah,
probably with some job before, and
definitely.
especially us because we've both nannied before. So
Yeah, yeah,
definitely been
for
there.
sure. Yeah. Okay. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. This one says, my mom just told me if I don't spend Christmas at her house this year, she's done trying to keep the family together. The problem is, my partner's family has been asking us to come visit them for years, and I think it's only fair. I feel like I'm stuck between disappointing my mom and disappointing my partner. How do you handle parents who turn the holidays into guilt trips?
Ooh. Okay. I'm looking at
Oh.
this because I wish I had more information. Why does your mom say she's done trying to keep the family together? Okay. Um, Yeah, that is a very emotional thing
Hmm.
for somebody to say. It's always those moms that you see on TV who are throw their hands up in the air and I'm just
Yes.
so upset, I'm going to be done. And that sort of reaction can definitely at times be trying to manipulate you
Mhm.
to act in a certain way. So it sounds like that's exactly what she's doing here because you feel like at this point you were probably wanting to go to your partner's family for Christmas. And I will say I think that that's the fairest way to
Yeah.
handle holidays. I think that that's just the way to do it, or at least it has been for Bran and I. What we do is that we switch off. What do we do? We switch off for Christmas Eve because
Mhm.
Christmas Eve is the big celebration day for both of our families.
Mm.
Christmas Day was never the huge day for either of us. So it's hard because we both want Christmas Eve with
Yeah.
our families, although we both love it with each other's families too. It's special both ways. And I love being able to be with his cousins and his mom and stuff. But there is that switch off. You just have
Mhm.
to switch off. I think that that's the way to go. But you could always try to, I don't want to say appease her because then it makes it sound like you have to validate these big
Right.
emotional feelings that she's having. But I would just tell her, we haven't gone to my partner's family's Christmas for however many years. And I understand that you really want the family to be there this year. And I do want you to feel loved. But this year, we're switching off and doing my partner's family for Christmas. But what if we come the day after Christmas and we can have our own Christmas celebration? And like, what if we did a new tradition? That's if you're like really trying to appease
Yeah.
her. Because I think some people, and I'm interested to hear what you think, Ken, some people might just say, well, your mom needs to realize reality and tell her, sorry, we're switching off this year. Me being a people pleaser type person, I'd probably be thinking, how can I make it sound like a good thing, So I'm sticking to my boundaries, but I'm also thinking, well, what if we all brought ornaments this year? That way you're trying
Hmm.
to show her I am also putting effort in our family. I'm not ditching our family, which is hard because should you really be giving in like that? But I do think it might just show her that you care. But at the end of the day, your boundaries are valid and your mom needs to understand that life is life and
Yeah.
this is how it is. And it's not crazy to say that. Most couples do that, right? Ken's, didn't
Yes.
you do that? You switch off, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think that you're very kind, GB, and I think like, and I'm not. I know that sounded like I don't know what is
I'm like, am I too kind? No.
sarcastic, not sarcastic. I was not belittling you with that statement. You are
No,
like
I
you are
know.
genuinely kind. And I do think that what you're saying is something that could work. And if you have the energy to do that, then yes, you should do that if that feels good to you, right? I think this is where having more information would be so helpful for the advice, like you initially said, because we don't know the dynamics of this relationship. Because I would say if your mom and you have a really toxic relationship where boundaries are constantly crossed, you're feeling consistently guilt tripped, you never feel like you're enough, you feel like you have to do all the work, like there's an emotional imbalance and you are asked, maybe it feels like what you do put forth to the relationship is never enough to make her feel loved, right? It's like what did she say? She's done trying to keep the family together. So is your family really falling apart? And your mom has been working overtime to try to like make sure that your family dynamic survives. Are you guys in crisis? Did someone, pass away? Did you go through trauma? And there's like there's a reason for some big emotional response. Or is your mom struggling with emotional immaturity? And this is kind of just her response to disappointment. And it's a really big reaction to, the typical disappointment that a parent feels when their child can't be with them during the holidays. It's hard to know. I would say if your mom errs on the side of manipulation in order to maybe get what she wants out of you and your siblings, you have to decide what energy you have to put forth, because I would bet money that if that is the dynamic, then it's been that way your whole life and you're exhausted. So I'm just going to speak, because I loved your advice, Juby, and I'm just going to speak to the other potential that this person is just tired, right? And they've done a lot and they don't really have a lot to give and they're just trying to get through the holidays. You do not owe her this holiday just because she's your mom. It is absolutely the correct thing to do, I think, to share holidays with your partner's family. I think that's obvious. I think that it's, absolutely the only fair thing to do if your partner has a relationship with their family, to also be able to visit them. And the way that I've handled this in my own life is by being very firm, but this is because I am exhausted. I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I'm exhausted trying to appease my parents. So I love them. And what I have decided that I can do is very kindly say, it is not my intention to hurt your feelings. I love you so much. Because a lot of times I'll get, well, you don't love me, right? So I'll say, I actually do love you. And I am so sorry that you feel like because I'm doing this, it means that I don't love you. But I do. I promise that I love you. And I still have to do this thing. And then when I've done the thing and I've held my boundary, I'll send a text message or give a call and just be like, hey, we're having dinner at our house this weekend. Like, would you like to come over? And it's, for me, it's holding the boundary, but also showing I still love you and want you in our life. Like, I still want you to be around the kids. I still want you to be a part of our family dynamic. So that for me isn't too exhausting. I won't have the fight though. So like the biggest thing is when I set the boundary, a lot of times it wants to get taken further and further and further. I don't have the fight. I will send a last message or I will have the last phone call and I'll say, this is how it is. I promise you, it doesn't mean that I don't want to be with you. This is just how it has to be this year. And then I will not respond. I don't have another conversation about it. I will never talk about it again. Like, I've had the conversation. And then I just move on. I move on with my life and I invite them to move on with their lives as well with us, right? Dinner on Sunday, dinner, whatever. We're doing this. Would you like to come? And it doesn't fix things, because I would still say that your mom sounds like she has some inner work that she needs to do. Maybe there's an abandonment piece. Maybe there's the piece of, I gave my entire life to this family and it's broken apart, and she's having broken apart where it's not really broken apart, but it's not together the way it was when you were children. It's the natural evolution of life, and she's struggling with that. That's valid. And it sounds like maybe she's taking that out on you and your siblings. So she has inner work to do, and you can allow her that. You don't have to take that on for her. Just remind her, yes, I love you. Yes, I want to be, have our family together. Come over next weekend, right? Or come over in a month, like whatever it is. And they're not going to be happy about it. They have to take their own time to deal with their own feelings, and you have to set the standard for the emotional maturity in your dynamic, because they're not going to do it. And that, I think, is unfair. I think it's really unfair when adult children have to then be the emotionally mature person in their family dynamic with their parents, but that is just the way it goes a lot of the time. And so without exhausting yourself, I would just say, hold your boundary, do not have the conversation longer than you need to. And put your phone away. Like, Merry Christmas, I love you so much. And if there's an argument that is continuing, then just put your phone away, because you cannot manage the feelings and the expectations of others, and you're doing nothing wrong. So it's really hard. It's the hardest thing ever.
I agree that it depends on what type of parent you have. Which it sounds like it's more leaning towards what you were saying, Ken's, because
Maybe.
It sounds like there's manipulation in there, and I'm done trying to keep the family together and all of that. So I do agree in being firm in your boundaries in that case. I think I was thinking about it from my perspective. So like, I'm seeing my mom through this.
Yes.
And the reason why I was seeing my mom through it is me and my mom have a really good relationship,
Yeah.
So to me, for example, I had my 3 grandparents pass away in the last few years. That was very hard, and it really affected my mom, because obviously all of our traditions are tied to these family members. And after they passed, it was so important to her that we start new traditions. So she was asking the family, what can we do that's new and fun, and what can we start doing now? And she started this ornament thing that she's very excited about. We all got together, went out to eat, and she got ornaments from Michael's, and she had us all pick one for us to all have. And she said, we're going to do it every year. And then we went to the river walk, and she's very actively trying to build good traditions now. And it means a lot to her, because she's grieving the loss of her mom.
Yes.
So I think when I read this, I'm thinking, if my mom called me and told me, I am struggling, I'm feeling like I'm trying to keep the family together, I'm trying to keep the spirit of the family alive, and she came to me from a very genuine, non-manipulative place, then that's how I would react, would be
100%.
to say, I'm sorry, I can't this year. We're going to Brand's family this year. This is just the switch off that we do, but can we come the day after? And we've actually done that before, because she's a nurse, and there's been times on holidays where she's worked, and we'll celebrate the holiday on a different day, and we'll just pretend it's Christmas or Thanksgiving. Yeah, but if it leans more towards the adult of immature parents vibe, and there's a lot of manipulation, and it's the same thing every year, and you've always been guilted towards this, and you've put off your partner this long to the point where now it's unfair to your partner and their family, 100%. I believe in being very firm about that. So I think it depends on the relationship and the dynamic you have with your mom.
Yeah, because I feel like your mom does a good job too of like what you were saying, being like, whatever day works for everybody.
Yes, and actually, no, this has happened. I've told her, sorry, I can't. We're going to Brand's mom's. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
As long as it happens.
She's never guilted me ever, So I feel good about honoring her request. And some people are not able to do this one thing that I'm about to say, and I don't blame anybody for it. It's totally a personal choice. But my mom, it means a lot to her when I go to church with her. And I go, and it's fine. It doesn't bother me.
Absolutely.
So if I had a personal boundary, and if it really hurt me or wounded me to go, totally, but there are things that my mom asks of me, and I feel like we just love each other, and I try to show up for her as much as I can. And they're very respectful. My parents are pretty much in the camp of, you're an adult.
Yes.
Do your thing, you know, whether or not they always agree. I mean, that's a whole tangent, but they're very much respectful of my life, my marriage. So if you're not dealing with a mom like that, yeah, I would agree that it's time to put up some strict boundaries like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. And it sucks when it's the holidays and you just want to enjoy yourself. And oh, it's like I'm always like, why do you have to ruin the holidays, man?
I
But
know
that's
it's
why
the family
it's in your
stress.
hands. It's in your hands though. That's why I'm like, okay, if we're gonna fight about it, we're just not gonna talk about it. Like phone
That's
off.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Airplane mode. Okay.
Yep.
Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh my gosh. I'm
Oh
excited to see
no.
what you say about this one.
Okay.
Okay. I just got back from my best friend's bachelorette trip, and let's just say it got a little out of hand. There was a lot of drinking, some questionable dares, and one bridesmaid who definitely made out with a stranger, even though she has a boyfriend back home. Now everyone's like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But I feel super guilty keeping this secret. Do I stay loyal to girl code, or does the boyfriend deserve to know what went down?
Oh my
I'm gonna throw up.
God. Oh my God. What do you do? Okay. This is honestly what I think I would do. Do you know the boyfriend? Because if you know the boyfriend, you tell the boyfriend. That's what I think. I like honestly, like this would never happen. Okay, so like say it's us. All right. And Juby, you just go wild on a bender and make out with some guy at the bar. I'm telling Brandon, it would never happen ever in a million years. But I would tell him. I would implore you to tell him first. I would say, I do not feel good about keeping this secret from my friend. And I also feel like you should say something. And I think that it's okay. And I personally think, maybe I'm wrong. I personally think that if you are friends, like it's your friend circle, right? Say you're friends with this boyfriend and everyone's friends and you all hang out. I feel like you need to tell that person to say something. And if they don't, it's okay for you to tell that your friend, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is a really hard one. I feel sick even thinking about being in this
Yeah.
situation, especially when you have so many people who, yeah, just so many people who are kind of egging this on or
Yeah.
saying what stays in Vegas or what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So it can be, man, it feels like peer pressure from middle school all over
I
again.
know.
But I personally, and this is just my personality, would have such a hard time not saying something because I don't know. I'm just a very open person. So if I were to see something like that, I would feel so much guilt being
Yeah.
around these people. So I wasn't planning on sharing it. I'm going to tell a story, but we're not going to put it on the Instagram clips because
Okay.
I don't want this person to see it.
Okay,
So
but then I have a story too. I can't wait. Okay, go.
okay, this is the overshare hour, really overshare. I've never shared this, guys, because it stressed me out so bad. So in my hometown, I had a friend and I was friends with her husband and her, and she ended up coming to me, and their marriage had like not been going good at the time. And she told me that she had been cheating on him, and I'm friends with him. I saw him often and would hang out in a group. And she ended up telling me that she had cheated on him and she was pregnant.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I know this person?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was crazy. And she said, I am freaking out. And it was very hard because she was coming to me friend to friend and saying that she was freaking out because she just found out that she was pregnant. But she also dropped this bomb on me that she had been cheating on him. And I was thinking to myself, this guy is my friend. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't let this man raise a baby that's not his because I mean, I spiraled. I didn't know what to do. So I was trying to just be comforting as we were talking. And I ended up saying, I don't remember if it was in that conversation or the next day, I told her, listen, I understand that you're asking me to keep this information to myself, but I'm never going to be able to look at him in the eyes ever again.
Yeah.
And like the best, and I don't even know if this was the right move, guys, but I told her, maybe I can keep this to myself, but I can't continue to be friends with him.
Yeah.
because I would never be able to live with myself. And I just encouraged her that she should tell him.
Yeah.
And she told him, and she did.
Cool.
Yeah, and she ended up telling him the next day, and they're still together, and they made it work, and he was the father. So, you know,
Shut up.
yeah. So, and it worked out well, thank God. But that was just one of the biggest moral dilemmas I've ever had in my entire life. And I felt guilty for so long because I thought to myself, I don't know if I was wrong in that. Should I have been girl code with her because she came to me pleading, and I feel like I almost gave her an ultimatum? I kind of said, I can't keep this to myself. And if you're asking me to, I can't be in the same room with him again
Yeah.
because I just wouldn't be able to live with myself. All while still trying to encourage her and tell her, I love
Yeah.
you and I understand what led you to this point because things had been hard, but not saying that it was okay, but you know what I
Right,
mean.
right, right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard to find that balance of being a good friend, but also keeping your morals because,
Wow.
and also, so going back to the person who wrote in, I would want to know if I was the boyfriend.
Yep.
I would very much want to know. And are we just supposed to let this man live in this relationship for the next 10 years? And then what if she cheats on him again in 10 years? Not saying she will, but what if she did and you feel like you could have spared him later down the line? That's just where my mind goes. But yeah, that was the very insane situation that I had.
That is crazy.
I can't believe I never told you that.
Nope.
That was,
Don't know that story.
yeah, it
That is
was
crazy.
hometown stuff. It was crazy. Stressed me out.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. No, I didn't know that. Yeah, I also like was just thinking, what if it was the guys on the bachelor party? Like, wouldn't like say all of the guys that are like going on the bachelor party are the ones that are dating the girls in the bachelorette party. What if they were doing all of that stuff? Would you feel the same way? Like, oh, well, what happens in Vegas? No, you would be, I think these girls would be so upset and would absolutely want to know if their boyfriends were cheating on them. So, the very cliche, like, what if it was you? Like, think about, like, put yourself in the shoes of that person. And I just think it's important. Again, if you don't know the person, it would be hard to like go find them on, I guess, Facebook and like try to tell them. But still, even if you don't know that person, I think at least going as far as to say to your friend group, like, hey, this is not cool. Like, we really, like, it's okay for you to say that to your friend group and to your friend who did that and try to encourage them to come clean.
I wonder if this is going to be divisive because I could see a large section of the internet saying it was a bachelorette party.
I think that I absolutely think that because I think I saw something on TikTok recently where the girl was like, girl code. And I was like, oh, wow, really? Like someone had cheated and then like this girl had cheated and then her friend told the boyfriend that she had cheated on him. And she was like, what's wrong? What happened to girl code? And I was thinking, dang, I don't know. I guess a lot of people do think that.
No,
So
a
my
lot of
story,
people do. So, yeah, don't give us a bad review if you disagree.
yeah, it's also okay to disagree. We would
Yeah,
love to
you guys
know
can
your
disagree with
takes.
us.
Yeah.
Because I could see a lot of people saying, well, if this is out of her character, she's never done this before, and it was a bachelorette night, let this one go. I could see a lot of people
I
saying
could see
that.
that too.
Yeah, so it's hard though. It's especially hard if you know them.
Yeah, really hard. Okay, here's my story. And it is not nearly as juicy as yours, Juby. This didn't happen to me directly, but I dated this person a long time ago, a while back. And they told me that they were in the bridal party of one of their best friends' weddings. And the night before they got married, they were like all the girls were in the hotel and they were drinking or whatever. And the bride to be called my ex outside to the balcony of the hotel and confessed her undying love for her and then made out with her on the balcony. And then the
My
next day, she
God.
stood next to her as she married this man.
My gosh. I don't even know how to process that information.
I know. I was like, I'm sorry. You did what? Like, you did what the day before your best friend's wedding? They made out on the balcony. And then I was like, did you say anything? And she was like, no, I didn't say anything. And she just got married the next day.
No, I feel like it's worse though because it's undying love. Yeah, I would want to know if I was
Mhm.
the person outside of that equation. I
Yeah,
would
that
very much
definitely
want to
put a
know.
bad taste in my mouth. This was like not like a very like a long-term relationship or whatever. But yeah, I didn't say this to this person, but I was thinking that is the character thing for me. Like if you were able to do that and then stand next to someone as they walked down the aisle to get married the next day after that happened, like I just feel like I know that's a terrible position to be put in, but also you made out with them back.
Yeah. No, that's really
Yeah.
rough. That's really rough.
Yeah, that's my story.
And we knew somebody like that, Ken's. Do you remember? And I think that
Yes.
that's one thing that really, maybe I'm also thinking about that, is that we knew somebody who had a bunch of guy friends who were aware
Yes.
that he was cheating, and nobody said anything for years, was cheating on his wife. And so many people allowed this to happen. And I just think that's really uncool. I don't think that's right,
No, it's not.
especially
Definitely.
if they were also friends with the wife, which they were.
Like, how do you do that? I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Because again,
Divisive.
it could be pretty split on this one.
Or maybe you guys agree with us and maybe I'm just afraid of backlash.
Don't cancel us. All right. That was crazy one. Is it my turn to read?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got wrapped up. Okay.
Oh, wait. I want to read this one to you
Okay.
because I think you would have more to say on this one.
Okay.
And I want your take. So, I deconstructed and I'm bisexual, and I would like to have a queer relationship and my first intimate experience. But even though I've been deconstructing for almost 4 to 5 years, because of my OCD spiral, I'm afraid that I might be doing something wrong due to purity culture and internalized homophobia. Any advice?
Okay. We might both have something to say. Does the internet know you have OCD?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we might both have something to say. I will speak to my own personal experience with this, but then I actually would like your take on the OCD spiral piece because I do not have OCD. I know the spiral, but I think that that adds an element that you would understand more deeply. So, this is very interesting advice I'm about to give you. I hope that you like it. Okay, so something that really helped me with this, I am queer. I also am deconstructed. I have mounds of internalized homophobia that I've been working through that I've really, in the last 2.5 years, have made some headway with. And that isn't because I had some big aha moment where the puzzle pieces fell together and I had some intellectual experience. It's really just been time and living my life and like that trauma response kind of being replaced with safety in my body. And that's really come with time. But I will say that in the beginning of my queer journey, my comfortability with having an intimate experience, a queer intimate experience, was with myself. So I don't have any evidence that this works. I am not a therapist. We forgot to say that. We are not therapists. So I don't have any evidence that this is like a real thing. This is my personal experience that I worked through a lot of my sexual trauma through self-pleasure. And I really got in tune with my own sexuality and did a lot of deep healing work being comfortable in my own body. Because I think that this type of fear, I think it is. It's like fear that comes from trauma. Yes, it is bigger and exaggerated when it's queer because it adds another layer to that. But really, it's just undoing the trauma of purity culture at large. I don't think it needs to be as specifically queer as we might think it is. I think it kind of expands into that territory naturally as we heal from purity culture in general. That's kind of like a natural overflow of that healing. And so in my singleness, I spent a lot of time reading books. I can try to find the names of them. You're so good at that, Juby, like remembering the names and authors of books that you read. I'm not as good at as that, but I can try to go back and look at what I was reading and maybe I can post them on stories or something. But I read some books and did a lot of like somatic practicing when it came to like sexual somatic practicing, sensual somatic practicing, a lot of like mirror work and like dance, sensual dance. And this like all happened by myself alone in my apartment. And it's very vulnerable to even say that because it's not a conversation that I have. I don't really talk about it a ton, but it was a really big part of my healing. It was like 2 years of my life that I spent doing this. And it really, I think, expedited the process of healing from a lot of purity culture. And then I healed a lot from homophobia in my current relationship. So if that's something that you're open to, I think that the reason it helped me is because when we learn to be and feel safe with ourselves, that's what helps us be and feel safe with other people. Because when you get to know yourself, what you like, what you don't like, kind of even get comfortable looking at your body, feeling your skin, then that healing overflows to allowing someone else to do that. And then it also was a big healing piece for me when it comes to sexual trauma, which is a totally different part of my healing, but it bridged the gap for me with my connection with my own body and allowing myself to be intimate with someone else. And it really helped in my queer relationship because I think, like I said before, the real root is purity culture. And when you heal your sexual relationship with yourself, then those things kind of come as the bonus piece, and you realize that is just kind of bottled up in purity culture at large. It's not really that different. It feels very different at first, but as you heal from purity culture and homophobia kind of fades away into the ethers, because I promise you it can, and it'll be beautiful, then you kind of realize that sexual shame is all one thing. And there are just branches of that. And so healing the root, I think, is what is the main, most important thing. For me, it was my personal sexual journey with myself, sensual journey with myself, and I will put those resources when I can find them. But that's my big advice. I know that's kind of different, but I would say
No,
that's
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I think the fear of you doing something wrong, that's something that you said. And I think for me, yeah, I am going to talk about OCD, but there's a few different things I'm thinking. So the first one being, if you're afraid that you're doing something wrong, something that has really helped me, and I know I've shared it before, is reading Bart Ehrman's books or listening to them on Libby, which you can check it out from the library. You just need a library card, and then you get the app, and then you can check out his audiobooks. So he has a book about the New Testament. So it's called the history of the Bible, the New Testament canon, and it talks about where we get our ideas from and how the New Testament was even made. And I think for me, that helped unpack a lot of shame, which might sound silly because it's theological, but for me, it helped me realize, where did these thoughts come from? How many times was it edited throughout the years? And then you can kind of look at it through a different lens of, it was written for a certain time period. I think that really helped. So if you're having any shame of, am I doing something wrong? You can at least intellectually get to a place where you feel like you're not. That's how I work, is intellectually a lot of the time. So that was helpful for me. The book Come As You Are is amazing. It's about getting in touch with your body. I absolutely love that book, and it really helped start to heal me from purity culture and just the shame that I had around being sexual in general. It's such a good book, so I would highly recommend that. And as far as the OCD spiral, man, I'm with you. I haven't talked about it in too much detail. I have a little, but I have OCD, and the way that mine comes up is not so much the OCD spiral, though, is I have this thing where I use the bathroom 10 billion times before I go to bed. And it has to be the last thing I do before I go to bed, to the point where if Brandon shows me a video, or if he's like, look at this, I'm like, oh no, that was a thing. Now I have to get up again. And it's just horrible. I'll be in bed and then I think about it. And then another OCD thing I have is I wash my hair literally every single day for probably the last 10 years because I'm afraid of it being itchy. So it's just horrible. I get in these spirals, and there's other ways that it comes up too, with like door locking. And I used to get it really bad with eternity. And I think that was the thought spiral that stuck with me the most, is I would think about it. Yeah, that has actually been healed through reading those books from Bart Ehrman, finally, thank God. But that was something that really got me, and Kenz, you know this because I would talk to you about it, is if I was laying in bed at night and I had the thought about eternity, I would have to get on my phone and distract myself until I was no longer thinking about eternity, because I felt like I was going to throw up, and I would get into like a really bad thought spiral. And Brandon, I don't know if you know this, Kens, but I think Brandon also has OCD. He's not diagnosed yet, but like almost more severe than me, I think.
Okay.
And one thing that's been helping him is I told him about this book. I think it was called Brain Lock. Maybe that's
Okay.
what it's called. It's very good. I would recommend looking into that. It's about how to stop these thoughts. He has a certain way to go about it. I think there's 4 steps, and one of them being it's not me, it's my OCD, trying to break up that thought pattern and no longer associate it with it in your mind. So you don't own that thought anymore. You're trying to name it as something else. So I would recommend looking into that book to help stop the spiral, and also just therapy and all of that. But it's hard when it comes to purity culture because it's such a layered topic. It's OCD mixed with the shame and purity culture. And I think it just takes time and rewiring your brain to realize that you are not wrong to want these things. There's nothing wrong with you being bisexual and wanting to be intimate with somebody. And I think that it can take a short amount of time, long amount of time. It really just depends on each person and their healing journey. So I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, and give yourself a lot of time. Like, I know that sucks. This reminds me, it's not related, but the time piece is, it reminds me of when the girls were born. If you don't know, I have 2 daughters. They're now 10 and 11. But when they were first born, your mom, Juby, I asked her when I was in the trenches of like the newborn phase, because they're 14 months apart. So I had them really close together. And I was in the trenches and I asked her, I said, because she has 5 kids, I said, when does it get better? Like, when do I start to feel like a human being again? Not like when do I, like I loved my children and I loved them so much, but I was like, when does it get less hard? And she looked at me dead in the freaking face and said, about 5 years. And I was like,
So real.
love you. Fuck you. That's the worst thing ever. 5 years? Like, I was like thinking she was going to say like 3 months, like 1 year. Like, I was like 5 years. But she was like, I was like, I'm sorry. She was like, yeah, honey. Like, it takes time, right? And I was like, okay. And now that I'm 10, 11 years into it, right? It's like, oh, yeah, like that did take a lot of time. And it is a lot different now. And so in the same way, these last 5 years have gone by really quickly, but it did take me a lot of time. And it took me like, 5, 6 years, even with this, to start to feel healed, or like I'm getting to a much more healed place of purity culture. So that sucks, because I know a lot of times for me, I was like, you just want to feel better when you're in it. But also a lot of healing does come in safe, intimate experiences. So there will be beautiful moments throughout.
Mine happened, just to give you a bit of hope, mine happened a bit quicker. I would say I've been dealing with purity culture and all of that, but I got in a relationship with Brand, and I would say that I felt healed of purity culture within 7 months of feeling genuinely loved by somebody and feeling like I knew that I didn't feel like I was sinning, and I didn't feel that level of shame anymore. And then even just the OCD spiral of eternity, that was healed overnight. So I think it's so hard. It could take you a week. It could take you 7 years. We don't really know, I think each different aspect might take a different amount of time,
Totally.
But
Yeah.
we're there with you though. We've been there for sure.
Yes, for sure. All right. I think that was it.
Yeah. Do you want to do our overshare moment?
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. I have a very wholesome overshare moment today.
You do?
I do. Okay. So Brand's mom is an angel on this earth. I don't think I've talked about her much, but I adore her so much. She has just been the most wonderful, welcoming person. I'm going to cry. And yeah, she's just been so amazing. So last week we went over to the house and we went for a movie night, and we brought our air mattress and we slept on that. And we watched this movie, Heaven Can Wait, which was great. And the thing with his mom is we've just always had this great ability to talk deep with each other ever since we first started dating. I mean, when I would go and spend the night over there, because he was still living with his mom when we got together, we would talk till 1 a.m, just about stuff going on in life. And yeah, I mean, she was there for a lot of the beginning of my deconstruction stuff and just all of the things that I navigated. She was there for all of that stuff with the maid of honor situation. I talked to her about all of that, and she was such a great sounding board throughout all of that. And yeah, she is just wonderful. But we were talking, and she told me that she has listened to every episode of Heelish and every episode of the Overshare Hour. And like, I'm gonna cry. It was just so sweet, So she's gonna listen to this because she listens to all of them. And she's just so supportive. And I think that, talking about deconstruction and stuff with the church, it's not always that reaction. It's not always that with people in my life. So having her just be so supportive of everything, she likes like almost all of my posts, and she listens to the podcast. And Kenzie was on Heelish this last week, and it was so sweet. She ended up calling me on Saturday and saying that she had tickets to Hamilton because it's going back into theaters. And she said, "Do you want to meet me? I have these tickets that you guys can have." And I said, "Sure." So I met her in a parking lot. And when she got out of the car, she said, "I just listened to part 1 with Kenzie's story, and I just loved listening to it. You guys sounded so good." And she said, "I loved hearing this after having heard the Overshare Hour and hear more about y'all's background together." And then she gave me the tickets, and she said, "Okay, I'm going to go listen to part 2. She's just so sweet and amazing, and I just love her. And she acts very protective of me, which means a lot to me. She has told me when I talk about Bethel, she just kept telling me, "You have not lived a normal life."
Yeah.
She's like, "That was not normal, and I wish I could go back and just rip you away from all of those things that you went through." And yeah, so I just love her. Just wanted to give her a bit of a shout out. And yeah, she gave us those tickets to Hamilton, and we had so much fun. Bran and I are huge Hamilton people.
Yes.
We love it so much, and you were encouraged to dress up. We didn't actually know that. I didn't know that till after, but there were some people in our theater that were dressed up like Alexander Hamilton.
Oh my gosh.
And it was kind of funny because it was supposed to be a sing-along.
Yeah.
Or they didn't advertise it that way. The theaters didn't advertise it that way. But before the movie started, Lin-Manuel came on and he said, "Feel free to sing. Feel free to sing loudly in your theaters."
Aww.
So there was this awkward thing of people not knowing if they should sing or not. And some people would sing and they're singing quietly because they're afraid that people are going to be mad at them. And then it's just silent. Everybody else is quiet. It was kind of awkward, but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I cried like a baby. So if you guys have not seen Hamilton, it is on Disney Plus, and it's
magical.
Everything to me.
Yep.
And then yeah, this weekend was just very restful in general, which I never have. It's kind of sad. I feel like I never have restful weekends. I'm kind of a bit of a workaholic. So on Saturday, I don't think I worked at all, which was great. And then Bran and I binged season 2 of Severance.
Cool.
Kenzie, you've not seen Severance?
No.
At it, it is cinema. It is a TV show that changes the game.
Okay.
Honestly. And I don't even like dramas a lot of the time, but there's enough humor in it, and it's weird, and the whole time you're like, what even is this show about? It's just so bizarre, and I think you guys would like it.
Okay, I love it.
It's addicting. Yeah.
Okay, then it's added officially.
Oh, I love it so much. It has the guy from, did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Oh, yeah. I know about the show. My hairdresser actually told me I need to watch it.
And you should.
Okay, I was like,
you need to watch it before it gets spoiled for you. Thank goodness it didn't get spoiled for me. So now I'm all caught up. Thank God.
Okay.
But
yeah, cool. And we're big bingers, so at least there's 2 seasons. There's 2 seasons to binge, right?
2, yeah. And I finished the second season in 48 hours. That's how addicted I was to it.
And again.
Yeah, the first season took me a little bit longer because I was still getting into it, but oh my gosh, it was still really good all throughout. But once you get to the season finale of season 1, I will say, I think that might be one of the best television episodes of all time.
Oh my gosh.
It is the best season finale season, not series,
Yeah.
finale I've ever seen.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, you got to watch it.
It's added. Awesome. Well, hi, Brand's
Yeah.
mom.
I
Thanks
know,
for
right?
listening. I love that you have that support, and I love her. I can vouch that she is like an angel, like a
She's
genuine,
an angel
beautiful
on this
soul.
earth. She's perfect. I love her.
She is.
I lucked out for sure.
You did. Yes. Well, my overshare is not nearly as beautiful, and I really don't have a big one. Actually, like, it's not really big at all. I was gonna read a comment that I received today because it caught me off guard, and I just wanted to read it. And just
Yeah.
kinda, like, hear your thoughts or just share it with the class because it started off one way and then really quickly took a different turn. Okay, so I made this video on TikTok, and it was basically talking about how I was kind of a worse person when I was evangelical in terms of like how I treated people and all of that, right? This person commented and said, "You're making so many good points that need to be discussed in the church as a whole. Unfortunately, saying you are queer will most likely discredit you. I actually don't believe you are queer and that you are being attacked by that demonic spirit so that you will be discredited as a witness. I implore you to renounce it and repent so that Jesus can use you more effectively. His grace sets you free. Willpower won't do it anyway, but you can renounce and acknowledge that it's a sin. God bless you, and Jesus loves you and will never forsake you." Heart emoji.
He will never leave you, Kenzie, unless you're queer. No, well, I think that what I took from that is that you need to repent
Yes.
and you're
I
not
was-
queer.
I was like, okay, you're making good points. You're making good points. Unfortunately, you saying queer will discredit you, and you are not queer. It is a demonic spirit. I was like, oh my gosh. This, if you haven't listened, I think we talked about it on Heel Dish or on our religious trauma episode. Those get muddled for me. But when we were talking about how people approach this conversation, like Christians approach the conversation with people who are deconstructing, and approaching it this way is also like, she's saying it's not effective to do what I'm doing because I'm queer and under the influence of demonic spirit, right?
Of course.
But it's also incredibly ineffective for Christians to try to reach people this way. And that's what I just want them to understand. Like, it's not, you're not going to, and I was the same way. I don't feel angry. Like, I don't feel angry or hurt, but it's just like,
I want to give you more credit. Okay, I just need to pause to tell the class, Kenzie, though, is you were never like that. No, I mean, did you think it was a sin? Yes, but you would have never left that comment.
no, I
You
wouldn't
know,
have left that
you were
comment.
not the same. And neither was I. I mean, were we brainwashed? Yes, but that's a crazy comment. I think that's
Yeah.
an insane comment. Okay, keep going.
No, I wouldn't have left that comment, but I did look at people dead in the face that I knew who were queer and basically said the same thing. Without saying they were possessed by demons, I was very much like, you are wrong. Or like my best friend who was like, had a long-term boyfriend that she was sleeping with. I mean, I would tell her that she was living in sin. So I would have those conversations.
You told me that I don't know.
Yeah, what did I? No, say it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was sleeping with my high school boyfriend at the time, and you knew about it. And we were talking about this idea of, do you go to hell if you're still sinning? If you don't have time to repent. So I remember we were sitting in the living room and I said, "So you think, Kenzie," because I think you were arguing yes, right? So, which is just so great. No, I said equally interesting things, points in my life, but I remember I was like, "So you think that if I got in a car accident on the way home after I just slept with my boyfriend, I'm going to hell?" And you were like, "Yes."
I said that to you. I'm not, oh my God, I'm not that surprised. I'm not that surprised. Guys, okay, I am kind of like this fiery person, and
You said it nicely as someone could say.
yes. So be
Yes.
careful on your drive home. That's terrible. And I laugh about it, but it's me. And so I really probably shouldn't be laughing about it. I only laugh about it because I've really tried to make amends with everybody in my life who I harmed this way. Like, I've had those conversations. Obviously, there are all of the people on the mission field that I don't have opportunity to say sorry to, but people in my life that I harmed, like, I try to make those amends and take responsibility, because now it's so preposterous. I mean, it's just unbelievable that I ever believed those things. So that's why when I read these messages, it's hard for me to be angry or whatever, but it is, you know, not effective at all. Like, she's not doing what she thinks she's doing by saying that.
And I get a lot of these comments on my YouTube because I did some crossover episodes with some Bethel affiliated people. So unfortunately, a lot of my subscribers on YouTube are Bethel adjacent or very conservative. So they hate my videos, hate them. And I have gotten comments like that before. And like you said, very not effective, but I get the question a lot, people asking if I'm still a Christian or not. And I've shared that I'm no longer sharing my beliefs publicly, at least in this season of life. I don't feel like doing it. And the main reason was I have a friend who had a really important story. His dad was a false prophet, and I had him on Healedish, and he shared about all of this abuse and cover up that was going on in the church. And people would say the exact same thing that they said to you of your ministry is not effective. Nobody's going to listen to you now because you're not really a credible source. And that just irked me so bad. And I felt horrible for him because he is no longer a Christian and people were questioning the validity of his stories. And despite the fact that he saw these things firsthand. So that kind of led to me feeling that I didn't want to share my beliefs anymore, just because valid. I mean, I have deconstructed hell, and I've gotten comments on my YouTube where they say, you don't think hell is real? Well, you are going to find out someday. Okay, well, thank you. That's so effective. And I'm just not in the mood to debate theology with anybody.
Yes.
Because deconstruction is such like an active thing in my life right now that I'm not looking to get in theological debates with anybody.
It's exhausting too.
Yeah, and it's for that exact reason. It is so disheartening to see somebody comment that and tell you that because you're queer, nothing you say is valid.
Yeah.
So,
well, you were
and that
making
it's
good
not
points.
true.
You were making good points, but now that I know that there's a demonic spirit influencing you, I'm going to let you know no one's going to listen to you. It's like you're missing it.
And people have said that to you. We had
to my face.
I had some family members, not in my immediate family, but who had told you that, right? That you had demons on you that were influencing you to be queer.
Gay. Be gay.
It's like a ringing in your ears. Just do it.
Do it.
Oh, that's so hard. While we're on this topic, I have a question.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm not going to say his name because I feel bad for him, but have you seen this guy on TikTok who...
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
There's this guy on TikTok who used to be gay, he says, and he does all of these trends now saying that he found God and that he's no longer gay and that God has saved him from homosexuality.
Yes.
It breaks my heart every time I see it because he very clearly, I don't know, how should I say it? He very clearly is just afraid of going to hell. And he's actively just saying, I'm denying this and my friends, and I'm just going to do this and be straight. And what's frustrating to me about it is that there are people who are liberal who are all up in his comments trolling him.
I hate that.
I hate it because, you have some of the Christians kind of making fun of him because he still seems gay. And then you have these liberal people that I'm absolutely do not agree with them, that they're saying, okay, call us when you get your boyfriend or where's your boyfriend? And what do they think they're doing?
Why?
It's just unhelpful. So just going back to the idea of unhelpful comments on both sides.
Absolutely.
I do see some people comment and tell him, we love you just the way you are. Yeah. And I think that that's fine if people want to encourage him, but some people just trolling him, and it's just very sad.
Yeah. Luca and I have had a conversation about him, and it's he went pretty viral, and a lot of people were like making videos about him and stuff. And I understand the queer community's backlash, because I know that they're like, you're literally fueling this fire, right, of Christians to then use you as an example to say, see, it is wrong, it is a sin. So I understand the frustration.
Absolutely.
Not that I think that that makes it okay for them to troll him or treat him poorly. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying I do understand the feeling of that. But I think because I come from evangelicalism, I look at it like, I think he truly has convinced himself of that. Like, I don't think he's just lying. Like, I don't think he's just saying like, oh, I've been healed of, being gay, and is just bold face lying. I think he really does believe that he's been saved. And I think that the only thing that I can imagine is that it was the same thing for me, is that I needed to be saved so badly from something that I bought into evangelicalism, and went so far as to join a cult. And I believed a lot of things that, looking back on it now, I'm like, I can't believe I believed that. But I believed it then. Like, I wasn't lying. I wasn't making that up. That's how I felt. And, whether he stays the course with evangelicalism or doesn't is his path. I do think that he is very much living his truth right now. Like, I don't think that he's making it up. And I think that's hard. And I think that's sad, because I think that he's, like you said, probably afraid of hell, maybe was going through something in another way and was looking for a community or salvation or something to make him feel better. Maybe it was like his last straw, in life, was like to grasp for something, and found Christianity. And we both know how that can make you feel. Like, finding a community, and especially if he is, a gay man who is saying that God has saved him, you can only imagine what his church community, how they are building him up and how they're making him feel and how much they're coming behind him. And, I'm sure that feels really good.
I'm sure he feels very accepted.
Yeah.
And I think what's so hard is that when I look at him, he reminds me so much of, we had a family member who was kind of like this, who riding a religious high to the point where it was unhealthy. And they had a mental break. And I'm not saying that this guy is having a mental break. I can't say that at all. I'm just saying I'm noticing similarities that make me really sad, because I think that there's just a lot there. But I understand why people are frustrated, because in his videos, he does say things about how miserable he was when he was gay. And I'm sure he was, because he was going through a lot.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that just feeds the fire of the Christians saying, see, he was miserable and he was gay.
Equals misery. Yeah.
Yes.
When in reality, there could have been so many other things going on that contributed to that misery. Yeah, it's very sad. But there are a lot of people. I mean, there are a lot of people who, he's not the first one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, that took a turn, but
yeah, I liked it. I think it was good.
Yeah.
That was our overshare moment. I really thought that it was just going to end with the comment, but we had a whole conversation, so that's great.
We did. All right. Well, Kenzie, you should tell everybody about our Patreon.
Yes, we have a Patreon. And on our Patreon, we share extra stories. We also do, we just share extra stories that you guys have submitted, things that we find really interesting. And then we also do Reddit responses. So we find Reddit stories that are super juicy, and we all know what goes on Reddit. And then we talk about them.
Yeah. Y'all should let us know if there's any communities that have some tea that you think we should check out. I know I love the Two Hot Takes podcast, and they're fine with people using their stuff. So maybe I'll go look there, as long as we say it's from their subreddit. But there's quat a few. My gosh, r/revenge. There's some really crazy ones on there. We'll see if we can find some juicy ones for this month. So it's going to be 3 bonus stories, whether that be either a write-in or a Reddit story. So
yes,
we'll be doing that for you guys.
Yes. And we didn't say it at the beginning of the episode, but as always, we are not therapists. We are just your 2 besties, and we're just giving our honest thoughts on your questions, but we are not licensed therapists, so take everything we say with a grain of salt, and we love you so much.
Yeah, we do. All right, well, we will see you guys next week for another episode of the Overshare Hour. Bye.
Bye.